Hi, welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek, but it's actually Saturday night, well, Saturday evening. This was kind of a weird week for me. I was highly unproductive, which is not usually my style. I've been kind of just sitting in my garage and wondering what I'm going to do. I'll like pick some things up, try to move them around, but there's no space. And so I end up just making a mess. And so after about a week of this, not doing anything, not watching any movies, reading, doing anything, just wondering like what I'm going to do, I finally said to myself, you've got to make a change. And so today I really made a huge change to my garage, and I'm going to be continued so that I can get some of these books on some bookshelves. But that's for a little bit of a project in the near future. But I took pictures of what I did because I got up at about 8 this morning, and I didn't finish till 4:30, and it involved a lot of moving. I know my back is going to be screaming tomorrow, but this is just something that had to be done, and I feel so much better about my garage space right now. Okay, so I will get to that later, but I've got a lot to go over in not my usual sense. I have some AOKs to go over, and I'm going to show off a Funko Pop and a book that I got. I also listened to 2 books on my way to work and back, so I'm going to talk about those books. But what I want to say is that Thursday, after school, I set up, first I joined a Facebook page because I have 3 filing cabinets in my garage. Let me see if I have a picture of those. So I have 3 filing cabinets. Yes, there they are. So I have these 3 filing cabinets, this one, and this one. So this is after part of the move. And I had them to, I don't know what that, to me, that's the right. I don't know what direction it is for you. Maybe it's right. Okay, but anyways, especially challenged. Okay, to my right, I had the 3 filing cabinets, and they were in front of a bookcase, and there was this little walkway around them and behind them, and it just wasn't a good way to have it because all the filing cabinets would block the bookcases, and it was just in the middle of the room, and it really cut up the space. And this is a pretty small garage to begin with. I don't know if I've ever said this, but I actually only have half the garage. It's a very weird property. We share the driveway, and we share the garage. And, of course, we divided it, and a long time ago. But it's a weird situation, but, sometimes in the city, you make compromises. Because when I was buying a home, this is one of the only homes that I could afford. And I think the only reason I got it is because of that condition, and also because of the attic, which I'm not going to go into, which is like a second floor, but an attic. It's very strange. Anyways, I'm very happy that I bought this house because of the area that I live in. The property values went way up after they started renovating the area, and I'm very happy about that. So I finally, like in my life, I made a wise decision. So I'm happy about that. But back to what's going on. So I have these 3 filing cabinets, and they've actually been a godsend because, first of all, they were so heavy to transport and put into my garage. But the ability to open up the drawers and go through the comics, each drawer of these filing cabinets holds 2. You could fit 2 rows of comics going back, and I was gonna show an example, but I've been using these boxes to store my comics, and I have them placed strategically around the room. I used to have some back there, and I had a whole bunch in that corner, and for a while this really worked for me because I was able to put the comics in boxes. But the problem is, every time I'd want to look through the comics, I would have to pull the boxes out. And that started to become problematic after a while. It wasn't a good solution for me. And so I realized I needed more filing cabinets, but I just didn't know what I was going to do. And so I joined a Facebook group about filing cabinets, and everyone on there, they were talking about the lateral filing cabinets. And from what I saw, they're not as deep, but you have more space at the top. And it's really nice because in the lateral filing cabinets, you can actually put dividers with the names of the comics. And I'm looking into that now because I got one lateral filing cabinet now, and if I could do everything all over again, I would go back and make myself get lateral filing cabinets because they are so much better than the ones that I have. But I'm still glad that I got those. So anyways, on Thursday after work, I had set up to go to someone's house in Pasadena. And it was gorgeous as I was driving, and it's not very far from my house. As I was driving, the house was across the street from the Pasadena High School, and behind you could just see all the hills. It was gorgeous. But when I was talking to the guy who sold me the filing cabinet, and it was $50. So I'm going to talk about price in a little bit, but he showed me a picture and all of this was on fire. And I was like so shocked just to see that because it was all red. And he said they had to evacuate and everything. And he said, it's probably just because it was behind the school. The school didn't get burned, but man, I wish I had gotten a picture from him because it was really scary, the picture. And then he also showed me a video of the wind blowing, but the wind was blowing here too, and I know that because my whole house was shaking. So anyways, I went and picked that up, and I was so afraid that it wouldn't fit in my car because I have a very small, like one of the smaller model Priuses, and I measured everything, and it just fit. It was really tight, but it made it. And this is what it looked like. So I put it in that corner. Now, before I move on, so that was the space, right? And you're going to see a little spot right there. These little things on the wall, these are the handprints that me, my husband, my daughter, when I first painted this, we put our handprints all over the rooms in different color, and they're still there. Of course, I mean it's paint. But when I moved all the boxes out, this is where Poncho had his nest. So I don't know if that was his nest, and it was behind all those boxes, and this is where he was. And as you can see on the wall, that's where his body was kind of pressed. And, he'd be going outside every night, and he brought all of these leaves, and I found a whole bunch of stuff. Like I found some plastic CD holders. I found a cloth for my glasses. In fact, I don't know if you can see it. It's that. He had a whole bunch of my stuff all like jammed in there too in his nest. Now, what happened about Poncho is Poncho has flown the coop, and I'm of two minds about it. Of course, I wanted him to, I don't know. First of all, I should say who Poncho is. Let me see if I have a picture. So if you've been following my channel, Poncho was an opossum that my husband and I rescued. He was tiny, tiny, tiny. And he grew up in my garage, and I left the little door open so that he could go in and out. And finally, he's not coming back. And how do I know that? Because I have a litter box and his food. And there was a small poop in his litter box, and there was only one little one, so I didn't clean it one night, and it was still there the next night and the third night. And so, and the food wasn't being touched. And so I finally cleaned that poop up. So just, if you're wondering, it's all cleaned up. It's gone. But yeah, I had his little litter box, and so he's gone. And like I said, I'm of two minds. I wish that Poncho. I'm still trying to find his picture. Where is he? I guess I erased all the pictures. He was so cute. So I wish that he would still go out and just come in and stay here. I don't know. I wanted him to be safe, but now he's out on his own. And, the city can just be so horrible to animals, especially wild animals. And but I can't think about that, right? Because I did what I could for him, and I gave him a fighting chance. What do you want? Okay, come on. So, anyways, enough about Poncho. But anyways, when I was cleaning up to move that thing in, I saw his nest, and I actually didn't clean that spot up on the wall because I want to keep it as kind of a memory. But I mean, I did clean up all that garbage there. So I got that filing cabinet, and when I got home with it, my husband and I took it out of the car, and he's like, you know what? Because he's helped me move these damn filing cabinets, and even the one that's blue, we spray painted it before we put it in here, and they're so heavy to move. So he was like, why don't we just go to Home Depot and get a dolly? And I'm like, okay. And thank goodness we did that, because it made it so much easier to get into that space. And so once I got it in that space, I just kind of started putting comics in to get them out of the way. But I can already tell how much I'm going to love this lateral filing cabinet. Now, at this time, no, let me not jump ahead. So this morning I got up, and yesterday I came home from work, and I came in here, and I was like, I don't want to start. All right, so I just kind of sat here looking like, okay, planning what I'm going to do. And so this morning I got up at about 8, and I went from 8 until 4:30, and it was just so many boxes. So these little plastic boxes that I have 48 of them, so almost 50 of them. And not only that, I'm going to show you what the worst part of this, moving those boxes in the comics. So I had to take the 3 filing cabinets that were to my right, and I wanted 2 of them here, but I wanted the blue one here next to this lateral filing cabinet. And so what I needed to do was, I wanted it to go here, so I had to slide that album thing over. And man, was that a nasty job. I had to take all the albums out of it, and my whole room was filled with albums. There was no room to walk. And at first I was putting them out all orderly, like, oh, this is going to be cubby 1 go. But after a while I couldn't. I had to stack some on top. There was just nowhere to put anything. And so when I finally was able to slide that down, my back was like screaming, like, what are you doing? And then finally I put all the albums back in, higgledy-piggledy, because I was like, I don't know where they go. That's going to be another job. And the shame of it is, the last time I organized my album, I put them all in alphabetical order. But I'm like, nope, I just put them all back in there because I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So that was such a huge job, just taking all those albums out of that out of those cubicles. And I'm going to show, this was in the middle of it. That was just so nasty, such a nasty job. So everybody always goes on and on about why you should have a physical media collection. That's the reason you should not have a physical media collection, because you are going to ruin your back. Okay, so after I got the lateral filing cabinet in, and then I got this filing cabinet in, and then I moved that over, I was able to get all 3 cabinets away where I wanted them. And by the way, in order to move these 3 cabinets, I had to take the comics out. And so it was like a comic shuffle. I would take one out and put it into another, or line them up on the floor, move the cabinet, and then, put them back in from another cabinet. And it was just like, it was a lot of moving. I know I'm going on and on about this, but this was a big job. And then finally, I took all of the remaining boxes that I have, and I have them in the center of the room, most of them. And that's this whole section, I am going to try to get another lateral filing cabinet so that I could put the majority of these comics in that. Now, again, I want to go back to the lateral filing cabinets. So you can find filing cabinets for pretty cheap. If they're banged up, you can get them for free to $10 and $25. If you want them in nice condition, some people they do charge $100 or $200. But if you wait, if you're not desperate, you can usually get them for $40 to $50. Now I paid $50 for that lateral filing cabinet, and I thought I was paying too much, but I just wanted it, and it wasn't banged up at all. And I didn't want to say, hey, will you take 40? I'm like, he off 50, 40, 50. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So my point is, if you're in the market for a filing cabinet, you can find them so cheap. So there were 3 places that I looked. I looked on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and there was one more place I looked. I can't remember. So I've been going back and forth on all of them, and I'm in the market to try to find another one to go here, and that one will serve like a table too, because it'll have a flat top, and I'm not going to get the 4-drawer one. I'll get a 3-drawer one, or maybe even a 2. Most likely I'll get the 3-drawer one, because it'll be the perfect height so I could still see the bookshelves, and it will give me a lot more room than what I have now. So anyways, a lot going on with this move, and right now I'm very, very happy with the way it turned out, and now I just have to do all the small arranging, like with all the comics and where they go, and that's actually a lot. And then, all the books and the bookcases and all of that. There's a lot more to do, but I did all the heavy lifting. I got all that out of the way. And I wanted to just show a picture. You can't see it. I am actually going to do a room tour soon, I think. So this is what it looks like kind of to my side and behind. And yeah, I think that's it. I showed that picture. Yeah. This is what it looked like in the morning after I got started. It was just a nasty mess. And then after that, I had to put albums all over the room. It was just crazy. So more on that coming up. I'm probably going to do a room tour. So I'm going to put this down a little bit. Today I got a package in the mail from Amazon. I had ordered 2 things, and they arrived. I actually ordered 5 things, one for my husband, but they came in separate packages. So I got the Frankenstein Funko Pop in this series. This makes the 3rd of the Funko Pops. So I have 1, 2, and 3. I don't have these 2. This one is already going for like $30, and I usually don't. Once they go up in price, I don't bother. So I pulled these other 2 off the shelf, so here they are. I need to buy pop protectors for those. I think I'm going to keep them in the box. I like the orange boxes. Now, that's the second one that I got from Amazon, and this one today came up pretty banged up. The box was open, and it was a little bit bent. I'm not that big on making sure my boxes are pristine, but if I were to ever to sell these, someone would say, oh, that's an 8.5, and whatever, I don't care. But I do like these boxes, these orange boxes, because typically they're white. And then another thing that I got was another book in this series. This one is Oscar Wilde, The Star Child. And this is also a group of short stories. Now, I bought this because I thought I would be done with the other 2 this week. And I was just very unproductive, and I didn't read any short stories. My mind was just taken up with this whole, like, I could not stop obsessing about it to the point where I couldn't do anything else. I'm going to go ahead and get another cough drop because, yeah, my throat is still not the best. So I did watch more of The Traitors. I'm in the second season. And The Traitors, it's still very, very good. The second season, they upped the production value. And, oh, my dog is cold, so he's shivering. I'm going to put this blanket on him. So they upped the production value, and it's still a lot of fun. The people who are on the show, though, they're a lot more savvy because they all watched season 1. And so the traders are being found much faster. And there's a lot more twists in this. Now, what really made me laugh is one of my YouTube friends, he wrote me and he was like, damn you got me hooked on the Traders show, and I was laughing. Yeah, and we were talking about it. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, yeah, the Traders. I came home on Friday, so yesterday, and I had 3 AOKs. And so it's really funny because in the vinyl community they call AOKs VCLTs, and in the comic community they call them AOKs. Anyways, AOK, act of kindness, and VCLT is the vinyl community love train. So 3 people sent me packages, and I know that a 4th is on the way. I don't know what I did, but all of a sudden people just started sending me packages, and I'm not complaining. So I'm going to show off the best of the packages. Now, the first one is got to be the weirdest package that I've ever gotten, in a good way. Donald Rex sent me this Dick Tracy, and he said, you know, this was sitting in a box, and I thought you'd really enjoy it. One time, I got this very cheap on eBay. It's just a bunch of ripped up Dick Tracy's. He said he thought maybe someone was going to put him in a binder, or you know how people put him in a book and make a book out of it. And he said, I guess they didn't, and they just wanted to sell it, and he got it cheap. So these are, I'm like, I've never read any Dick Tracy before, and I'm very excited to read these old comics. And he said, if possible, could you read them and note what's your favorites, and then pass it on to someone else, and maybe we could all do like a discussion or something. And so I'm definitely going to do that. I can't wait to jump into these. And I don't know if you can see, but they're kind of like chipping, and it doesn't matter. This is so cool. I've never gotten something like this. But it's like the weirdest gift, and I absolutely love it. It's kind of a perfect gift for me. So I thank you so much for that, Donald Rex. It's just like, it's great. 2 others that I got were from Stevie D and Mr. E. So I guess I'll do Stevie D's first. Now he sent me, both of them sent me a lot. I'm only going to show some of the main ones. So this is Mr. Miracle 0. I used to have this, and I believe it might be Alan Moore. I'm not sure, but this is Mr. Miracle 0. He gave me another treasure chest. I actually can't wait to read the ones that he sent me. This is pretty cool. I'm getting into these treasure chests, and they're just cool, and I hope this one has a wraparound cover. I like those. And he also gave me this Punisher POV. Now, I stopped reading Punisher a long time ago. I think I got really tired of the character. Initially, I really liked him. But this one is by Starlin and Wrightson, and I don't know who Ray is. Maybe Fay Ray. I doubt it. But Bernie Wrightson and Jim Starlin. And the cover art, while not being the greatest, it's still kind of cool. And maybe it's probably Bernie Wrightson. Anyways, I'm not sure if that's painted or drawn or whatever. It's a very interesting piece of cover art. And so I'm very happy to like jump into that. And I'd never seen that miniseries by Jim Starlin and Bernie Wrightson. Wow, pretty cool. So and he also sent me 2 books. Now, in all of this move, I think I put the books in the filing cabinet, and I put some other things on top of them, and so I'm not going to go digging through it. But he also sent me 2 books, and I'm very happy that he did. I will read both of them. One of them was a Dinar Kuntz book for sure. And I think he said, well, I'm not sure if he said this, but he got me the books because they're books that he really enjoyed. And I used to read Dinar Kuntz a lot when I was in either high school or college. I can't remember. And what will be fun is to reread him now after all of these years, because I haven't read one of his books in forever. Um, there were a bunch of writers that I used to read, and I kind of just got them out of my system, and he was one of them. So I'm looking forward to reading both of those books, and of course I will review them after I've read them. And then Mr. E, he sent me a bunch of books, like a bunch. And there are some Golden Age ones in here, and so I want to show those off. So any Jimmy Olsen that I get, I mean, this is one of these 80-page giant Jimmy Olsen, so it's going to be a bunch. But look at Jimmy's nose there. This, yeah, I mean, how much fun. Jimmy Olsen. Look at this beautiful Daffy. And that one's a 10 center. Yeah, a 10 center. Look at that. A free 10 center. Thank you, Mr. E. I think he sent me a bunch of these because he got better copies. And so I absolutely don't mind that he's giving me his hand-me-downs. So he got a better, I know he got a better copy of this one, Santa Claus Funnies. And you can see it's a little beat up, but what a cool comic that is. Look at the art on that. And another painted cover. And this one is called Fury. So this must be from a TV show or a movie. Oh, that red background is awesome. Look at this one. Have Gun Will Travel. Now, this reminds me of the Marty Robbins album cover. And it kind of looks like him. I don't think it is. It says down here, Richard Boone. So, I'm wondering if Captain Strangelove knows who this is. Sorry to say that, Captain Strangelove. Oh, by the way, Captain Strangelove, I do remember that I owe you some comics. And as I was moving comics books around, I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to give those to Captain Strangelove. So I will be giving you those soon. He gave me this gorgeous, gorgeous Aquaman. Look at that cool cover. These Aquaman comics are actually very, very expensive, even beat up. And so I'm very happy to have that. He gave me a copy of Star Wars. Now, I'm not a big Star Wars collector. I'm not a Star Wars collector at all. But he gave this one to me because he knows I like yellow backgrounds. And so, yeah, that's so cool. And then he gave me some Conans. And the reason I like the Conans is, besides this one, I'm not sure if I have this or not, but the ones from around 200 to 250, they're scarcer. They didn't have high print runs, and so they're difficult to find. And so this one is number 244, and this one is 217. So yeah, thank you, Mr. E. Thank you, Stevie D. Thank you, Donald Rex, for those amazing packages. Like, it's just a largesse of richness to be getting all these packages from I was about to say vinyl community members, from comic community members. And I know my vinyl community friends, I've been leaving you out a lot. I haven't been able to do anything just because of the state of my vinyl. And so I hope with all this change going on, I'll be able to have a lot more access to my vinyl and be able to participate more in that. So I think the last thing that I need to talk about are the books that I listened to. There were two of them. There was the second in the Asimov. So the prequel, actually, I should have grabbed them. They're right there. So the one that I read this week is the Currents of Space. And this was the second kind of pre-Trantor, pre-Foundation book. But this one talks about Trantor a lot. Oh, wait. I started the third one, so I could be wrong. It could be the third one that talks about Trantor a lot. No, this one does. So this one has more relevance kind of as like leading up to the Trantor universe, the Foundation stuff. And as I mentioned last week, this novel starts off with a man who has his mind erased, and it's basically a mystery. He's trying to remember, uh, and as he's remembering, it's triggering these ideas of there's going to be a planet-wide destruction. And there were some ideas in this that, for example, this planet is a very important planet because it has one product that only is viable on this planet, and they don't know why. It's solved by the end. It's very much like the spice on Dune, and I'm not sure which came first. But it doesn't matter. So it's this idea of a planet having one product that they try to replicate in other places, but they just can't. And it's a mystery, and it wasn't a love story. It was a lot. It was a lot better than the first one, which to me, the first one, which was called I forget what it was called, but it was very young adult. This one was a lot of fun. So I would probably give this a 3.5 out of 5 for the Currents of Space. And the title of it is a pretty interesting idea. It's the idea about how when the universe was forming, there are different particles would make waves that you could follow through space, like the different like hydrogen or whatever. And so that's what it means by the currents of space. And the other book that I read was the second in the Matthew Scudder mysteries, Time to Murder and Create. Oh, I just want to say that I did already start the third and final book in the trilogy of Isaac Asimov, so you'll be hearing about that one next week. And like I said, the Time to Murder and Create, the second Matthew Scudder mystery. This was another really good book. I enjoyed it. So the private investigator is hired by a kind of a quasi criminal who they kind of both have respect for each other, and he asks him to hold an envelope for him, and he says, if anything were to, he pays him to hold it, and he calls every Friday, and he said, if I ever don't get in contact with you, I need you to open up and read the envelope. And so a Friday goes by, and he never shows up, and then he finds out that the guy was in the newspapers for being murdered. And so he opens up the envelope, and it leads to not one case, but three. So this was like a mystery of trying to solve who killed that guy, and he has to go down three different avenues. This book was a lot of fun, and I guess I'm really liking this series, and I can't wait to read the next one. So, if you made it through me whining, oh, here are the traders again. Me whining about my move like that, I think I talked about that for 10 or 15 minutes, so sorry. That was probably really boring. But I needed to get that out of my system because it was like holding me down. So here I go again. I'm off. But I thank you for, sticking around, listening to me whine about everything going on in my room. And, the books I read, none of the movies I watched, and, the 3 AOKs. I want to thank those people again that sent me those. And again, I want to thank everybody out there who's always watching my videos and commenting and whatnot, because I really, really do appreciate it. So again, I want to thank all of you, and this is Garage Geek signing out.